We're going to continue this Mosaic Damascus Bowie build, and here I'm flattening out this piece of Damascus to use for the guard. I had a little bit of work at the anvil to get the length I needed out of this material to make the guard. I've done a rough forging on the guard, so it'll be ready for grinding, but in the meantime, let's work on the handle material. What I've selected is, first off, the main handle is going to be this maple burl. It's a brown maple burl. Looks really nice, got some great figuring in it. Then, this is from a previous project, and the camera is not going to do it justice right now until it's polished and shine, because it's only got like a 60 grit finish on here. But this is a really nice burl, really dark with some orangey browns in it. It'll go really nice against this one. And then I'm going to put white G10 in between each one. So it'll look something like that. And then that, of course, will be there. Let's get it glued up. And the one thing that I always advise for something like this, and actually sometimes is the reason that I do it, because of the curved tang, it's really hard to drill the slot for this. So that's why I like doing these in two separate pieces. So I'll glue all these together, drill through these, fit them, and then once I have it fit, then I'll mark the handle, and I'll only have to drill the tang slot on this just a little bit, and it'll be straight. So good little trick there. Okay, here's the guard, all flattened out. I've done a bit of grinding on it, one flat side, just so I can put it in the mill and then mill the other side parallel. So, time for a bunch of milling operations. Let's go do it. After I milled the other side parallel, I was able to flip it over and do the slot for the guard. Here's the guard all slotted. If we put it on the knife, you'll see it, if you can see that, it almost fits. Okay, it's just missing a little bit. So what we're going to do is put it in the vise inside of a piece of leather. Okay, make sure it's not hitting down here. And I'm going to lock just the blade in the vise really tight. Okay, make sure this goes on the right way. Okay, then I'm going to put some leather just to protect the guard. Put a little washer here in my fancy dancy tube, and I'm just going to give it a couple of whacks with a hammer. And sometimes you need to flip this around because it'll pivot on you. Here's a better shot of the guard. Nice and fit up.
Now it's time to shape the guard on the grinder and get the profile we want. I decided I wanted line-up pins, so here I'm drilling holes for those. Okay, do you see the problem here? I'm about to scream as soon as I find out. Yep, I put the hole on the top side of the guard instead of the bottom. Here I'm using the acetylene torch to bend the front the other way.
So there it is, crisis averted. I just bent the tip down. This will still get ground up a little bit here. So all's well. It was just a pain in the ass.
Time to heat treat the guard to make sure it gets the same etch as the blade. Here I'm putting a taper on my line-up pins with a drill against the grinder, just so they have a nice point to go into the wood. I like to sand the blade down to 800, put my maker's mark, and then do my final sanding to 1000 after all my fit up is done for the guard. Now it's time to drill the holes in the handle pieces so I can start fitting them up against the guard.
So I've got the handle all glued up. I've just taken a wax marker and just drawn out where I want the handle to be. I've drawn the tang here. I made a little mistake when I drilled the hole, so the hole for the tang goes up a little high, so I had to bring the handle up a bit higher than I wanted, but I think it'll work out well. Yeah. So now I'm going to do some rough profiling on the handle and then start working on this part of the guard.
Here you can see how much mess this makes, even with a dust collection system.
Okay, time to do the hole for the pin. I'm going to use this Mosaic pin, and it's only going to have a single pin right here. So The first trick here is you want to make sure you have your handle all squared up, because if you don't and your handle's on an angle, that means your pin is going to go in on an angle when you drill it. So what I do is draw out the tang. So now I know approximately where my pin's going to be. Since the tang is at a bit of an angle, I think I'm going to put it a little bit closer because I want it centered here. So I'm probably going to put it right there.
My pin material is 3/16, but I'm actually drilling a 1/4 inch hole here just to have a little play. Time to do the final shaping on the handle. I start by tapering it towards the guard, and then move on to putting the contours on the edges. Just some final cleanup grinding on the guard, and I think we're ready to go.
Time for the final etch. Be 3 cycles of 10 minutes. There it is, fresh out of the coffee. Now into the oven to bake on the oxides before we shine it up and show the pattern.